Hey everybody, my name is Andrew Davidson. You're watching Conversations in Pop Culture, and we are back to the basics. And before I introduce my guest, I do want to remind everybody that my sponsor is Pocket Jack Comics, and they have books like Palace of the Golden Princess and White Lily, and you can find their books at pocketjackcomics.com. So go check out what they do. But enough about that, because I have with me comic creator Mike Wheeler. So welcome to the show.
What's up, man? How you doing?
Yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited because we're going to get into an adult hot take conversation here about everything that's going on right now with Kickstarter. And yeah, obviously there's a little thing going on where Kickstarter decided to make not safe for work anymore. And I've been waiting to use that joke forever. And then they reversed it, and it's very confusing. What they've done, and I don't really know what to make of it because I'm confused as a consumer on what that exactly means. I mean, I read it and I see what they've done, but I'm confused on the whole policy, and that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit. So my understanding, and maybe you can chime in, is that they basically said Stripe is not going to process the payments, and
Stripe doesn't process any payments for that kind of stuff. It's against their terms of service. Has been forever since day one. They don't do anything in regards to like adult content or nudity or any of that stuff. Like they refuse. But yet they will process payments for OnlyFans because they are invested in the company. See, so that's weird. So it gets weird. So it's more of like I will if you pay me money to do it kind of thing. And apparently Kickstarter isn't kicking up into the pool. They're not kicking up enough shekels to get that accomplished. So yeah, it's more of the same from Kickstarter basically. They're always I mean, from launching on their platform multiple times, I've had problems with their pay over time feature. For instance, check this out. One time on one of our projects, Stripe canceled us mid-campaign after the fact. So the campaign was over, but the pay over time wasn't over. So midway through that pay over time process, they said, we're not doing this anymore. We're not going to process any more of these payments. You know what Kickstarter said? You can keep all of that money, and the customers, it's okay if you fuck them. I've got those emails. That's what they said. We didn't do that. We said, no, we're going to reach out to each one of these customers. We're going to make it right. We're going to make sure that we can collect those payments. We had them pay us through PayPal to finalize the transactions, and then we sent them their stuff. But, you know, it's problems like this and the uncertainty of...
So let's get into this a little bit, because this is what I don't understand, right? And so not safe for work is a very umbrella term, right? So it could be topless, it could be full frontal, it could be suggestive, it could be lingerie, risque, or it could be the content of your book. I mean, if you have a book that is overly gory and overly violent, that's not safe for work too, right? Or what if you have a book that is just heavy in themes but doesn't have any nudity in it? But like I can't think of an adult book, right? You know, off the top of my head. So Lori Foster just did a book, right? And I bought it and I'm excited to read it, but it was off of Lee Severino's novella. And it's definitely, I mean, there's, you know, tits and ass in that book, for lack of a better word here. But, you know, you could also have a book that's just heavy in themes and is dealing with things that unaliving situations. And I'm purposely trying not to get myself in trouble here, but like heavy themes. So is that also something Stripe's not going to touch? Like, what exactly does it mean? And this is why I get so confused, is that I don't even know what the term means anymore. And I think there's validity in the question, and maybe I'm wrong here, maybe I'm off, but feel free to correct me in any format.
No, you're right. Another thing that's kind of like ruffling the feathers of other creators out there is the fact that it seems to be on a case-by-case basis as to whether or not anything happens to you, because there's other creators out there that none of this stuff happens to, and it seems that they're the ones setting pretty high up in the Kickstarter echelon, such as on the Kickstarter comics board, and their comics are fine. They don't get touched. But there's other people where, oh well, let's go ahead and mess with these people. It seems to be a little bit of favoritism behind the scenes kind of going on. So I just, after seeing this for so long, and it was Mindy's idea. She said, we need to start our own platform. So we did. And we started indiecrowdfund.com. And I see it as a solution to all of this.
So obviously, let's get into that too, because obviously on your platform, you're not limiting and not safe for work. All of that is allowed, right?
Right. I mean, hell, we got JDA on the platform right now funding, and he's doing Flying Sparks. I think he's a little over $5,000, and he's basically a Christian nationalist. So, I mean, it doesn't matter whether you do NSFW or whatever. We just wanted there to be a place for everyone that wouldn't play favorites, that wouldn't care about your politics, or whether or not your book was safe for work or not safe for work, and whether or not you'd get your money.
So let's actually talk about that, because obviously the actual creation of the book is not affected by this, because this is a funding mechanism versus that's the real problem here, is that it's a funding mechanism issue versus comic creation problems.
Right.
Well,
I mean, if you're not getting the money for your stuff, it's hard to produce stuff.
You get what I'm asking, though, right? I mean, I think you kind of get where I'm asking, and the reason why I'm separating the two is that there's creative problems in an industry, or there's HR problems in an industry. This is not that. This is how you fund your project and how you get paid for your project.
It's basically debanking. It's kind of what it is. It really comes down to, like, I mean, why are we allowing these people, these 3 or 4 or 5 companies at the top, to decide whether or not we can have money given to us willingly by other people? I mean, it's crazy when you think about it. Like, what if you go to a gas station and there was some guy in the middle standing there saying, "No, you can't use your cash here." Like, where else does that ever happen? It's insane.
So let me ask you this: is that, I mean, I can tell you what I think why this is occurring is that Kickstarter has become big, and that they are one of the largest, if not the largest, crowdfunding site for anything and everything. Right? It's not just comics. I mean, comics make up 3 to 4% of the whole thing, and they also have one of the highest success rates and funding rates. I think last time I checked, it's about 70%, give or take, which is good. I mean, this is why people go to Kickstarter. This is why they're happy to give 10 to 15%, because you're getting that, I guess, stamp of approval, stamp of authority. But it's also the idea that when something becomes a giant, what happens is that they become, I don't want to say sloppy, but they become complacent to a degree. And also, I mean, there's other stuff going on too, I think. I don't know if it's really Stripe behind this. I don't know if it's Kickstarter. I don't know if they have an idea. I don't know if it's government politics. I mean, I don't know if you know what happened in Texas, but Texas was trying to shut down Pornhub. And that was an interesting battle in its own right. And so we talk about issues of freedom of speech, issue of freedom of distribution. We could talk about whether it's censorship or not. Public versus private censorship is always a debate. But this concept is that it's kind of, I think, maybe there's more going on than I think is being let on.
Well, Mindy also has a good theory that she got, I think, from our friend JD. And they were talking about how, over the last 2 years, 2-3 years, you've kind of seen more mainstream stuff appear on Kickstarter. You might see, some IDW books, some Boom Studios books, some a little bit more mainstream stuff. Well, what if, and just around the corner here we are running up on DC's clock, and the clock that's ticking there is the public domain clock. Here soon, a bunch of their characters are coming up for public domain. Where's a good place to start re-releasing a lot of this content, a lot of this old past work? What if it's the mainstream coming in saying we don't want this quote unquote smut stuff here when we launch our books here? And they're kind of phasing all of the little guys out.
See, that's interesting. See, I have a different theory, right? I mean, that could very well be the case, right? I mean, and also with DC Comics, there's a lot of stuff going on with Warner Brothers now being bought by Paramount Plus, and how that's going to be fused in, and
Yep.
what that's going to look like exactly, and how they want to license out their, comic characters. For those who don't know, Disney is an interesting company. So
And what's
obviously,
really funny is less than 12 months before the public domain of Batman. I think it's about 12 months, isn't it? They sell that company to Paramount. Weird.
it's a stock deal. It's an infusion. I'm not exactly, but sure. But I'm not worried about that public domain issue. But Disney license out, like Scar is done by Dynamite.
Mm.
A bunch of their Disney villains are all done by Dynamite, and but Disney keeps Marvel stuff, Captain America, all that which they own is in Marvel, and Star Wars is in Marvel. But going back to the point, I think it's I don't even think it's so much DC Comics and the smut. I think what's going on is that I think they're scared of government. And I think that what's going on right now is that I think it's more political than it's ever been. I actually think what's going on Kickstarter and comics, and I don't want to say it's Christian nationalism, because I don't think it's that. I think it's a continuation of what's happened in Texas with Pornhub, in which that they
Yeah.
want to control things like that, and they want to pick those fights. And then I think Kickstarter says, well, comics are 3%, so we'll cut off our finger to appease Stripe, so they don't screw the 97 other, and so we don't lose billions of dollars, and we'll lose 20 million. That's what I think it is. I think it's straight out money. I think it's straight out fear. Your theory could be right too, but I have a different, or they both can happen at the same time. It could very well be that all this is in play, but I definitely think there is more fear of, is Stripe going to say fuck you to Kickstarter, and then Kickstarter is going to have 97% is not comics, and so now they want to appease their payment processor so they save their business and they don't fuck up their shit.
Yeah.
Because I'll ask the question this way: who is the client of Kickstarter? Is it the person who backs your book, or is it you, the creator?
I would say it's probably the person that backs the book.
I don't think it is. I think it's the opposite, and I'll tell you why. Kickstarter has no obligation to me. If I back your book on Kickstarter, you have an obligation to me. Kickstarter takes 10% or whatever percentage from you, and I have no grievance with Kickstarter if I don't get my product. First thing on eBay, if I don't deliver what I sold on eBay, the buyer has a grievance with the seller and eBay. So that's what I think is going on. I think what Kickstarter has come to the conclusion of is that me, Andrew Davis, backing a Mike Wheeler book like Star Wars, which I enjoy. Great book, by the way.
Well,
I enjoy it
for number 3 here in just a minute.
I enjoy it for a different reason. I think it's funny, and I think it's a break from the norm. But the point is that, like, I am a client to you. I am not a client in that circumstance to Kickstarter. I'm using Kickstarter to get your book. But I think what's going on is that I think that's what's going on with Kickstarter. I think they're just terrified that Stripe's going to say, you didn't abide by our rules. Fuck you. We're not going to process anything. And then they're going to have a whole position where they don't get their 10% of whatever was raised.
Yeah, it could be.
But yeah, but I want to get into solutions here because again, this is the fun stuff, right? Because this is where I think this is so interesting is that obviously you've created a site and there's been a few others and a few other crowdfunding places, but like what is that like? Because
Yeah,
it is hard to get
but
somebody
the other
off
ones
Kickstarter.
suck, Andrew. That's the thing. And it's not their fault. They're just stupid. Um, Fund My Comic is built on WordPress. Yeah, it's terrible. That's why it's never going to actually be successful long term. Since over the last couple of months, since I came out with indie crowdfunding, I started kicking Luke's ass left and right. It was funny. I was all like talking shit to him and shit on Twitter. So much fun. Um, he migrated his site over to managed WordPress because he thinks that's the solution. That's going to get it faster, but eventually it's going to fail there too. That's the problem with PHP. Whenever you're building a database and it's based on PHP, the database calls take longer and longer and longer and longer the bigger the site gets. That's a problem. That's not scalable. So eventually this too shall pass. Which is going to be funny, but is what it is. Then he's going to actually have to migrate and spend some money and try to develop some real code, which good luck. He'll probably just quit.
So let me ask this: what makes a crowdfunding site good and work and
Have the right
fundamentally,
framework.
like what?
You start out with the right framework, and like right now we run Node.js, and we have a PostgreSQL backend, and it's infinitely scalable. It's the same thing Kickstarter and Indiegogo use, exact same thing. So if you have the right code and you have the right framework going forward, you make things a lot easier on yourself. Like you can do benchmarks tests right now, page load tests on Indie Crowdfund, and you can do it on Fund My Comic, and like we smoke them. It's not even. It's so funny. And like there's this one video JDA did. He sat there and he counted to 15 waiting for a page to load on Fund My Comic. It's really funny. And mine was like think. So that was good. But yeah, and then making sure you have the right stuff in regards to like your terms of service and making sure that you're bringing on the right people. Like I'm gatekeeping the shit out of this site. There's several people that have contacted me that like I'm not letting them on. I haven't yet. There's other people that that have contacted me that have been able to come on. So I mean, it really just depends on the person right now. I'm kind of looking for quality over quantity, I guess you could say. Where'd you go, Andrew? Andrew has left the building. It is now the Mike Wheeler Show. But yeah, man, Indie Crowdfund is really taking off.
Sorry, I had to let my dog out. Sorry, I didn't want to like open up and she was barking, and so sorry about that. Wanted to just let me. She probably has to go to the bathroom, so just wanted to make sure I don't kick my dog, and I love my dog. She's a cute King Charles Cavalier Spaniel. So anyway, yeah. But I do want to talk about that because I have no problem with gatekeeping. I've said it before. Yeah. I know it sounds fucked up, and I have no problem admitting it and stating it. My show is gate kept for a reason. I pick and choose who comes on my show, and people ask, and I say no all the time. Because I believe in curated content. It's one of the things I like about Zoop in particular is that they curate their content, because I think you do have to be selective in what you put out there. And I think you have to have an idea and trust. And I mean, this is one of the flaws of Kickstarter, right? Is that how many people are not good creators, not good with their money.
Yeah. Shit projects that no one even wants to buy. I don't want a bunch of shit on my site that people don't want to buy. It's I don't want it cluttered with that stuff. People are like, oh well, you can't you can't say what's good. Something's going to be good to everybody, and so on and so forth. Well, I kind of can. After making what over $600,000 in the comic book industry, I think I can pretty much say what's good now and what's not. I'm in the top 1%.
So I'm going to challenge a little bit on that, in which that I'll be honest. So I sometimes take an interview, and I don't know if it's going to be good or bad, and it knocks it out of the park, right?
Yeah.
But but also the level is so low, and the fruit is so low hanging, that if I have a bad interview and it just fails, it's going to get lost in the shuffle pretty quickly,
Right.
within a year or two, right? I've had also stuff that's gotten lost in the shuffle, and then out of nowhere, it's gotten like 9,000 views. So you never know, but I definitely can judge. After doing about 1,300 of these, I get a feel for people. And look, if I'm wrong on a feel, so be it. I'll take the L on it. And I don't know how you feel about that, but let's say you reject a project and then it goes to Kickstarter and it does $20,000. You say, well, I made a bad call that one, but how many times have you made a right call too, right?
Yeah.
So, because I'm sure you've rejected projects, and then it went to Kickstarter, and then it did like $4,000, right? Or
no, everything that I've rejected hasn't done shit.
you get my argument, though.
I get it. I mean, it's possible. And if that were to happen, well, good for them. That's good for the creator. And just because it's not a fit for my site doesn't mean that it's not going to be a fit somewhere else.
And it's okay if you make a bad call and you just missed one. You're gonna miss them. You're gonna miss shots. It's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Just by nature. But the reason why I bring all this up is that I don't have a problem with gatekeeping. I've missed interviews. I've missed shots with people. I've missed opportunities. But there's other opportunities that come along, and I'm not too worried about it. And I just say, look, it's just not a fit, right? It's not a fit for what I'm trying to do. It's not a fit for where I want to be, or whatever it is, right? But like, this is where I think this gets so interesting when you're building another site, because that's an issue with Kickstarter. There's too much shit on Kickstarter. Definitely, there's just too much in comics. Secondly,
there's too much garbage too. Like there's stuff out there that looks like it's been drawn by a preschooler, and it's like, come on, man, what are we doing here?
And then my other thing that I'm curious on how you deal with this is that how many people have multiple accounts on Kickstarter from the same company,
I do.
laid out books, and are massively laid out books, and are putting out so much content that when you're putting out 16, 20 books, every 3 months, that's a lot of content, and you're using multiple accounts. It's all the same company. And then you're late by a year, 2 years, 3 years. And that's my issue with Kickstarter.
That we set up. We said anyone that has more than 3 unfulfilled campaigns cannot launch on our platform. Anybody that's been late more than a year on a campaign cannot launch on our platform. And that's like across the board.
So let me ask this. What do you define as late?
You have a fulfillment date and expected ship date that you set. And if you pass that date by more than 12 months, you cannot launch on our platform.
The reason why I asked is that because I have a different view on that completely. If your date, let's say that you funded your book on January 30th and your delivery date is December 30th of that year, I consider you late on December 31st.
Right.
And here's why. Even though your delivery date is December 30th, you've had a year.
Yeah, you're late. Yeah, of course. And but I'm talking about after the expected date, because everybody goes into everything saying, all right, well, I'm going to give myself 3 months to finish this project, or 6 months to put this book out. That's expected, and even 1 day late is bad, but shit happens. It does. And hell, we had Brian Polito send us a cease and desist and shut our goddamn print order down and delayed our book for close to 5 months because he got a hair up his ass about Lady Darth. You remember that? So was that my fault? No, that was Brian Polito having a hard on for me. Like, what are you going to do about that? Am I going to just go, hey, Brian, please don't jerk off around me. Please just put it in your pants. Like, I can't do that, right? I have no control over Brian's penis.
I mean, that's not the image I wanted in my head, but okay. Happy Friday to me.
On it, you know, he's going to go fuck on it. And that's what he did. So, I mean, there's nothing I can do about that kind of stuff. And when stuff like that happens, and I'm not the only one it's happened to, you know, I've got a buddy, Jason Connolly. He got fucked on by Brian too. And Dan Mendoza as well, because of the skin color blue. They wanted his book blue instead of green.
I get it, in which I was well aware.
So, you know, like, I mean, there's shit out there that, you know, that's just completely out of your control. And yeah, I mean, I agree. Even one day late is bad. But I tend as a creator to give people a little bit of grace. And 12 months is plenty of grace.
Maybe my position is that I've been fucked over on 10 books.
Yeah.
And so maybe I'm raw from this. You know, right now, you know, my economic situation isn't wonderful. And so if I backed a book and it's supposed to give me fucking enjoyment and you deprive me of that, yeah, I'm a little raw. I'm a little bit raw. And I got no problem admitting that. And my financial situation is going to improve eventually. And it's going to be back into a better place. And maybe I'll have a little bit more grace then. But if I buy your book to escape from a tough situation and I don't get it, and it's not just one book, it's 2 books, it's 5 books, it's 10 books, I say, what the fuck? You know, and the way I feel is that after 6 months of this, right? After a year, maybe I become less graceful, not because I want to be an asshole. Maybe you're more grounded than I am on this. But you know what is? I work really damn fucking hard for my money. And so you know what is? I understand 3 months late. I understand 6 months late. But after a year, and it's not the first.
And that's what I said. After a year, and that's our hard line. You know, it's just like that. It's the same thing.
I'm a lot sooner than that, but like that's how I feel. But again, you know, I think
we got our shit worked out in 5 months, right? We were 5 months late on that book, so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna take what happened to me. I'm gonna double it, and I'm gonna pad it just a hair, just in case there's people out there that aren't smarter than I am. Or as smart as I am, that could, you know, find another way to accomplish their project and get it going, which maybe could be the case. So I was like, that's where I just landed, was a year. I was like, a year.
Fair enough. Again, yeah, I'm not going to tell you how to run your business. I'm just going to tell you how I feel, because
I agree with you. I think, you know, 2 days is bad. A day. I think
after 6 months, the way I view it is that I statistically feel I'm not going to get it.
No.
And I say, great, I just lost money. And then what irks me is when that creator is doing 4 more books. And that's because that's where it becomes insult to injury.
Yeah.
Is that you're late on book A, yet you have what?
Oh, I was asking Mindy something. Did you launch it yet? You wait. Oh, she's waiting on me. God dang it.
Oh, I don't know. What'd you do? Do something wrong?
Oh, no. I was asking if she launched the book yet. We're about to launch Star Wars 3. So,
but that's my whole point, is that's one of my biggest pet peeves on Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Is that, like, I hate when people are able to launch so many projects. They have multiple accounts, and then, you know, you have so many books coming out, but I don't have the book I bought from you, and I have no grievance, and there's nothing I can do, and it kills me, because it's like, I mean, $20 is a lot of money for a comic, when I could go to a comic store and buy 5 of them in that shop, if not more, on previews.
Right.
So, you know, and this is what I want. I want accountability, right? Like that's ultimately what I want, is I want accountability in this industry. And so, because if all of a sudden I feel like I got screwed, I don't know how you feel, but I'm less likely to come back. And I pulled back in projects because I got screwed on a bunch of them. And then I say, great, I don't want to back things because I've been screwed and it's hard to get me back in.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough thing, especially when you when you're trying to get something that you really like, and then you feel betrayed by the creator, and that's it's a really tough thing.
So I want to go further into your whole crowdfunder because again, I don't know how you're backed and what your payment processing looks like
Yeah.
because obviously, and look, PayPal has their position, eBay has their guidelines on what you can and can't sell. So nobody's saying that a private company can't run it the way they want to run it.
Mhm.
I don't know what parameters you have. I don't know what's allowed, what's not allowed, but obviously payment processors, and I don't know that sector like everybody else does, but what is preventing your payment processor from doing something similar eventually? Because I think that's also a fair
We
concern.
have a high risk processor that we use, and we have it set up on a white label behind everything, where you can't even see what it is, basically. There's also another one that we use called WAP. That's basically a card to fiat, which is, if you're into crypto, it's basically an on ramp where you get paid in USDC and then you convert that over to USD. So there's two different ways we can do things. The WAP is a backup, and Divinity Coin is what we're calling the white label solution, and it's been working great. Got no problems with it. Everything's going the way it's supposed to go.
Because I think it's a very I'm not asking your person on who's come to your site to fully understand the whole thing, but obviously they want assurances that the same thing if they migrate off a Kickstarter to where you're at and what you're doing with your crowdfunder, that they're not going to get the same reaction and be fucked over again. I mean, what was it? Louis Torres book. He was at what,
Right.
almost 20K, and
Yeah.
like he got completely fucked over. And it's, all the artwork is done, all of that's done. So he didn't lose anything on that, but he lost a $20,000 campaign. I mean, it's not that was funded, right? I mean, he lost time, he lost momentum. He didn't lose his IP, but that doesn't mean he didn't lose money. And so like if somebody then says, I'm gonna come over, I don't want that to happen again tomorrow. And now they just spent another 60 days versus 30 days of getting fucked over, if that makes any sense, right?
Right.
That's why I asked the question, because people want to know, okay, like, am I going to be screwed?
Yeah, and that's the whole thing about working with the high risk processor is they process in the adult industry already, so there basically is no risk. They're aware, they know what we do, they're on board. So that's something that Kickstarter could do. They could say, hey, let's take a second and find an alternative processor and work it out to where maybe, on this kind of content, we have to raise our fees a little bit, but they don't want to go into the trouble, I guess. I don't know. Because, you have to set up an entirely new checkout system, basically. And then how are you going to onboard that?
So where does this leave Kickstarter? Because obviously they're in a weird place. They're in a weird place because if you're not already doing this content and you're just doing basic stuff, I'm not saying that you're subjected to this, but you're next. You could be next for whatever else. Because if they're doing this for not safe for work content, who's to say that if you make your character's hair pink, that they won't come after that eventually? And I don't mean to alarm the flag here and sound like if you don't raise up your hand and oppose something, you could be next. So you should oppose it for the sake of opposing it, so you're not 86 next. But like, where does it leave them? Because they did reverse the policy that they put out there, but they've done a lot of damage. They've also, I feel, fucked up trust. And I don't know where it leaves them, and I'm curious what you think, because obviously you created an
Oh, it's
entirely
more the same.
and you want them to burn. So
Yeah,
right?
it's more of the same from them is what it is. They're saying, okay, well, we're going to go back to the way things used to be, which is where we still have our finger up our ass and we're not doing anything about it. So that's really what it is. Like we're at the behest of Stripe and the Kickstarter board of comics, whoever the fuck that is.
So I guess the question I have is that, do you feel that trust has been broken, or do you feel that nobody gives a shit?
I
Be
think it was broken a long time ago because, like I said, this has been going on for over 2 years now, where people have had their payments held up, their projects canceled, their content declared unworthy or unjust or unfit. Uh, this has been going on a long time. It's not just like a yesterday problem.
so what fair enough. So I guess what I'm getting at is that this seems to be, though, the one that broke it and made it exposed. And whether it was a problem for the last 5 years, it just now seems that it got everybody rallied up.
Yeah,
And
and that's what happened. It's like I guess Louis posted at the right place at the right time to kind of like, I don't know, like you said, rally the troops or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this has been going on a really long time.
because the reason why I bring this up is that I don't know, though, if anything's going to change, right? And that's my whole thing, right? Is that great? Everybody's aware, everybody's having a reaction, everybody seems upset. I mean, everybody seems upset about it because I think I don't know, or fearful about it. I don't know how we want to tackle this, but the idea is that, like, but is anything going to change? I mean, are people going to leave Kickstarter? Is it just that you just now become safer? Is it that, you, if you have certain variants, you just put it on your website and say, fuck Kickstarter, this is not going to go on Kickstarter? Like that's where I'm going with this, is that, like, to me, I don't know what the fuck happens next. And you know, it, and that's why I'm curious what you think, because
Well,
crowd,
I know exactly what happens next. You got to find ulterior platforms to get this shit done. That's the only solution is to get off of the Stripe tit. Until that happens, nobody's safe. Speaking of which, we just launched just now. Mindy just finished. That's why I've been kind of like distracted a little bit. She just launched Star Wars Episode 6, which is the third installment, Return of the G-Spot. It is live. So go back it. Go check it out. You want to play the trailer real quick?
I mean, as long as it won't get me into trouble, I don't know where the trailer is. So if you got the trailer,
I'll share my screen. Here you go. Ain't gonna get you into trouble. My stuff's always censored. Check it out on Indie Crowdfund. Isn't that cool? Look at that beautiful site. Look at that. Gorgeous art. Gotta love those Shaka Mike covers, right? Aren't those pretty?
So many things I could say about that too.
Yeah, Shaka Mike. He's such a great artist, isn't he?
Yeah.
He is so good.
So let's talk about this a little bit too, because obviously Star Wars is Star Wars. Mandalorian and Groot just came out, and miniature Groot, miniature Yoda, whatever we're gonna call him now, and yeah, good timing on that, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Not too long ago, we released a book called The Mandalorian. It was pretty good. Did pretty good on it.
so what is this like though? Because obviously it's Star Wars, right? It's a parody of Star Wars, right?
Yeah, it's a parody of the third movie, Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna make you full screen again. I mean that's the whole point, right? I mean, it's supposed to be parody, and let's even talk about that too, because parody is complicated, right?
It
In a
is,
sense,
and
it,
especially what helps it even more is that we have brought Brian Pulido along with us for this entire ride. Emperor Palpatine in the Star Wars series makes it not just parody, but also satire.
so many things I could say about that. I don't know, Brian. I like
He
Lady.
is an evil, rat-eared bastard. So
I can't say anything about him because I don't know him, man. I don't attack people I don't know, because it would be unjust for me to do so, right? I have
I
to
was
know
talking about
somebody.
Palpatine. I wasn't talking about Brian.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I mean, again, I call things as I see it. I thought it was parody. I thought I've said it before, and I'm gonna get shit for it. I don't give a shit, and I'll take it, and I'm more than happy to defend my positions. Is that you got him? You rused him. He got his tower rung. You buzzed the tower. We're gonna go with Top Gun here. You
Yeah.
know, I'm sorry. I just heard Top Gun again. I just watched like the other night with somebody.
Sorry, the banner is full.
So the point I'm making is that, so you got him, deal with it. You got rused. Like, well, you're supposed to take it. Whenever you get played and you break somebody, there are ways how to do this correctly and incorrectly in society. And but again, I that's why I think this is funny. It's Star Wars. You're basically making Star Wars a brothel. It's funny. I'm sorry. Like, it's hilarious.
Baseballs. Come on.
But like, but the reason why I bring why parody is hard is that you either hit it or you don't.
Mm.
And if you miss parody, that doesn't mean, and you were intended to do parody, you might be legally protected. And I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the full extent, but you could just have a bad parody, right? And you could
Right.
just fail at it. But I think you guys do a pretty good job at it. I enjoyed it. But like that's why I say parody is complicated, because you do need to cross certain thresholds. And this whole concept is parody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, it's fun, man. We like what we do. I think there's a lot of people out there that put out really good stuff and that are in this NSFW sphere that, if and when they do so choose to come over to Indie, we'll have a really good space by the time it's done. I mean, Bad Bug Media, Mike Tenner, this man, he does his shit. He knows his shit. He's a good guy. I'd love to have him on the platform. Kat Kalama, she does great stuff. I'd love to have her on. We get about, I'd say about 5 to 7 really solid people. Pat Shand, I'd love to have Pat. We get 5 to 7 good solid people, and I mean, we could build something really special.
So I'm trying to figure out how to ask the question. Is that, I mean, because I mean, Pat's killing it on Kickstarter, and he seems to not to put him out on blast here. He seems to not be the one, and be the exception, and not be attacked. And his cam, I mean, but I don't know the full extent, but he seems to skate by and be, kind of treated good on Kickstarter, and he brings them a lot of money. I mean,
Yeah.
so like that's but there's gonna get a point where you're gonna get caught, and Kickstarter is gonna make a call on somebody, and but it's also all the small ones when they leave and all that stuff too, because this is what's going on with YouTube. Is YouTube has moved away from big creators and they're focusing on small creators because they want to grow. And so that's the other thing too, is that if you're a small creator and you're doing 8K, 9K with not safe for work, I mean, maybe you're not a bad bug and maybe you're not a cheeky comics, but if your platform's open and they get accepted there and they're growing with you, I mean, that's going to affect Kickstarter and affect the major players at some point because the growth is not going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's always a risk. And, I've spoke to Pat privately. I know how he feels, and I know.
I'm trying to put you on blast. I want to make that crystal clear. So don't take it that way. Not trying to put you on blast.
No, I'm not at all. I've spoke with him privately, and I've talked to him about indie, and he's been nothing but gracious. So I mean, I would not be surprised that in the not so distant future we might see him over there. I've talked to Mike Tinner with Bad Bug privately, and also nothing but gracious. I've got nothing but respect for all these other people that are out here doing exactly what we do, and they're doing it the right way. There's a lot of good stuff being put out by a lot of good creators.
Fair enough. I'm not going to press too hard on this. I'm not going to go screw up your deals here. I'm not that guy. I want to make that crystal clear. Obviously, I like competition. I have no problem in which I want people. There are people in the podcast space who are trying to do what I'm doing as an interviewer and are trying to break in, and they're doing a lot of interviews. And I say, welcome to the show, guys. I want competition because it's only going to make me get better. And it's going to force me to evolve, right? So if all of a sudden Kickstarter has a change in how they do something and they're laxed or they create a secondary server or maybe higher fees, it's going to force your platform to evolve and get better and be more aggressive. And I mean, because I'm a big believer in free markets and competition. And so, and also providing a better product, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think at the end, the only person that's going to benefit, or the people that are going to benefit, are the customers, because it's going to make either Kickstarter step up and take care of people a little bit better, or it's going to let me do it.
So let me ask you another question, because I had an interview, and I don't know if you saw it, with a guy called Collectible Lanes.
No, I don't know who that is.
So he is what he's trying to do is that he was a former executive at the WWE, worked for Anthem Sports, did some stuff for TNA, a lot of marketing, and he created a company. And his goal is to almost create, it's called Collectible Lanes, and it's like a private auction exclusively for some video game stuff, card stuff, maybe a little bit of comic stuff, and mostly cards though. But it's to not necessarily compete with eBay, but take out all the clutter from it. And I think there's merit. And I had a great interview with him. I met him up at a card show. Fun guy. Spoke to him for like 20 minutes there. Good interview, fun interview. But the idea is that I think there's something to be said about creating less clutter, right? So if you build a platform that is just straight, not safe for work comics, or has a majority of that, or that's what it's known for, I think there's something to be said that if I come to this platform, I know there's going to be not safe for work stuff. I don't have to go through all the bullshit of, an action superhero book, a romance book. But and I think that there's something to be said there. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing exactly, but
well, it kind of is. I do kind of want it to be focused primarily on that. I just don't want to, limit it to being only that. I want anybody that's having problems with cancellation to be able to use it. Do you use Whatnot at all?
I'm a buyer there, but I'm not a seller.
Guess what? I just built a better Whatnot. It's launching soon.
So for those who want to know, I just don't have the time to live sell. That's what it is.
Me either.
It's nothing like, I love eBay and I have no problem with Whatnot. I just do not have the time. I have about 8 hours of free time, and I'll be honest, I really want to watch like Law and Order during my 8 hours. I have
Or
to
a basketball game.
a basketball game, a baseball game, what play some video games, whatever it is. I do not want to spend my last 8 hours selling on whatnot.
Yeah.
Nothing against anybody. There's just only so much of me out there, but I don't have a problem with whatnot. But like that's my point exactly. Is that but I like the fact that something is less clutter, right?
Yeah.
Because you go on Kickstarter, I'm like, fucking A, there's so much shit here. How the fuck do I find my shit? Granted, I mean, I just backed a card project of Ultraman, but I knew it was coming, right? Because I've been following the creator for the last 6 years. But like, there gets a point where I just do not have like. There's so much shit I miss, and I'm like, how the fuck did this book come out? What the shit? Like when did this thing come out? Right? Like, and that happens, right? So like that's what I like about the gatekeeping, and even almost your thing being exclusive or being known for not safe for work. Is I know I can fucking come there. I could also know that if I have children, this is not for them.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's the thing too. Is just there is a lot of clutter out there, and I think people making these alternative platforms and curating their own audience and doing it, the slow way, which I actually call the right way, will pay out more dividends in the end.
So I want to back out of this. I don't know if you have any more points you want to make about this, but I want to back out of this, and I want to just talk about where you think comics are going, because obviously I think this. I don't know if this is a pivotal point. I don't know if it's a changing point, a changing of the guard, but obviously, I think you've been trying to do something like this forever, but I think that change needs to occur in comics, and I think a lot of stuff has occurred in the last 2 years. I don't know how you feel about things, but
It's almost unrecognizable from what it was even just a couple of years ago. I mean, you look at the collapse of Diamond. You look at over the last 10 years, over 1,500 comic book stores going out of business. It's moving to be a more direct to creator kind of framework. I mean, we all remember years ago having to go to Sears to get pretty much everything, and then Sears going out of business. What that was like. I remember when I was a kid, that happened, and people were losing their minds. Oh my God, where are we going to get this? Where are we going to get that? And very shortly after that, Walmart supercenters started to pop up, and things started to change. And then COVID happened, and then the supercenters stopped being 24 hours, and so much has changed and evolved. And you don't even, most people don't even go to the grocery store to get their groceries anymore. It's Walmart delivery, it's Amazon, and this mindset of I'm just going to have it delivered to me has fueled companies like DoorDash, where people pay 2 to 3 times what their food actually costs to get the same food without them having to leave the house. I see that happening with comics more and more, and people are like, oh well, the crowdfund money model is dead. People don't want to pay $15 for a comic, and that's just not true. If people are going to pay $15 for a double cheeseburger that costs $3 to have it delivered to them right away at home, they would most definitely pay for a comic book for $15 to have it delivered to them right away at home as well. So I think we're moving more towards a direct to creator kind of connection. And I think crowdfunding is the first step to that. I think after crowdfunding, it's going to be even more splintered as the big dogs that are in crowdfunding kind of get their foothold and start branching into other things. And dude, I see in the next 2 years us not even using crowdfunding at all. Like I see that coming. Like you will not see a Divinity book up on a crowdfunder. It's just going to go up on our website. That's it.
So interesting. I'll ask you this. I went to my first free comic book day in almost 5 years at a local shop that I used to go to in New York,
Mm.
and I went because a
Which one?
creator. What'd you say?
Which shop?
Oh yeah, comics.
Oh yeah. Oh okay. Yeah.
So it used to be my local shop. Loved it. And Holly Golightly was there, and I just interviewed her. It was good. Dan Parrott was there. It was like a whole Archie crew. Awesome, awesome
Mhm.
experience. But it was getting a little bit busy, but it wasn't super busy. But it was busy enough, but it wasn't chaotic. But I feel like that's also the future in some ways as well, where it's this I
Which
don't
is
know,
cool. Direct to creator.
direct to creator and also
Creators right there, and the customers are coming to them.
also an experience, also signings. I also think that's a big, driver, and I think that that's the other
Yeah.
thing too is that's also going to be, and also creators bringing exclusive stuff to signings, and so like but like if there was no signings and I was just going to go in and get my 3 or 4 or 5 free comic books, I probably wouldn't have gone. Right, there'd
Right.
been no point for me to go. And nothing against all your comics, I love all your comics, but they're doing a lot more signings, and I think that's where also the future is with comic shops and stuff. Is that if you're a creator, you got to be out, you got to see people. And not, I want to touch you, not like physically touch you, Mike, but you get where I'm going. Like I
Yeah.
want to see that you're a person in person, right?
Mhm.
And this is why, I mean, the game changer for me was when I started doing this stuff live, and I started, instead of just doing audio pre-recorded, it changed the way I did something, because now I'm at least getting some human connection. I don't
Oh,
know if that
that
makes any sense, even though
it
we're
does. I mean, that's how we got our start. We traveled around the country for years, and we did pretty much every show that we could get our hands on, and we did this for about 5 years. And we still have people to this day that back our books and buy our stuff and get Mindy's art that have been with us since day one at the very first show that we went to. There's nothing like it. Like that's where you're going to get the majority of your fan base is from in-person interactions.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. The crazy story I had at a con, and I did a panel, and it was comic book investing, and I had a blast doing it, and I was
Mhm.
happy to do it. And then some guy just found me eating my lunch, and it took me a minute to. I said, "Hey, man, I'm Andrew." He said, "Oh yeah, I'm this." And then I said, "Hey," like he said, "Oh yeah, good panel." I said, "Oh, which one did you go to?" "I'm sorry that I don't know you. I was up there, and you were down there." And we had to speak for like an hour at a con, right? And so I
Sure.
speak to that guy maybe once every 3 months. We're not like best friends, we're acquaintances. But the fact that he took his time to come find me after a panel that I was doing as a fan, because little secret is that if you do 2 or 3 panels, sometimes you get free tickets to go to cons, and they're
Mhm.
super expensive. So if you like to speak, and you could pretty much speak at any topic you want to speak about, and then you get to hang out and do a panel, and people get to clap for you. Oh, it's amazing! But you get a free ticket. And when they're 120 bucks a pop, it's a lot of money. And when you're a broke college kid, goes a long way. $120. But the point is that like it's this idea. When I launched my podcast, he was one of the first subscribers. He's one of the longest YouTube subscribers. Even though it's not comic book investing and comic book, stuff like that, he's has been following me for like 5, 6 years now. And so it's that idea. So like, but it's so humbling. It's so humbling when it's that. But like I really feel that's really also the future, because I want to know somebody is a person, right?
Right.
It means a lot when someone says, "Oh yeah, you interviewed me like 3 years ago," and I'm getting a sign like, "Oh dude, that's awesome, man. I remember that interview. You want to do another one?" Like it's great when that happens.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I think you were one of the first shows Mindy and I went on when we started doing this whole internet shit.
I would like to say I remember, but I don't. It's so many, and I'm so like I remember Mindy was an early interview of mine when I think you guys were in Arizona, right?
Right.
So I remember that because that was a sort of Mindy's art. I think she did some stuff for Zenoscope, so I remember that. But that was a long time ago, a
Long
long time,
time ago. Yeah.
10 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Um, Oh man, I'm old. I've been doing this forever. I've been doing this for like 11 years. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'm getting there, man. I'm all grayed out now.
I'm all stressed out and I'm drinking a lot more for good reasons because my knees are achy. And I'm 33, so it's terrible. Terrible. That Nick game took years off my life on Tuesday. So I have an excuse. But I digress. But like, I mean that's where I think the industry's going because I think it is evident that because I don't disagree about instant stuff, comics, crowdfunding. I'm not anti that, but I'm also like I don't know.
People can still get that, you know, kind of in-person thing. More and more creators are doing live streams now. They're on shows. So it's kind of like in person, but you know, it's kind of like we are right now. You know, we're sitting here on a stream and we're talking and creators can sit there and they could sign stuff. And like, I don't know, I think it's just going more digital more and more. I see it. Um, you know, we started out and our digital sales were around 20% of a campaign. Now they're up to, I think, close to 50, between 50 to 58%, all digitals. So I'm making the exact same amount of money if I were to print and ship the book, but I'm not having to do that.
I mean,
Which
it's
is great.
crazy, right? It's crazy. I figured out how to get paid to read manga. Yeah, I'm one of those kids that figures out how to get paid to read things.
Mm.
Um, but I read a chapter a day for free, and I get paid to do it. I mean, I'm getting like maybe a penny or two a day to read a chapter of manga, but it's all digital, it's all free. But they want people to read this stuff, and then there's like an ad at the end of it, or there's an ad in the middle of the manga chapter, and it's awesome, right? I have no problem with it, watching or paying the ad for 30 seconds. But it's this idea that, you know, I read so much digital, it's insane. I have a Shonen Jump app that I pay $4 a month for, and I'm reading like 200 chapters of manga. You know, I used to have a comiXology thing when I was heavy in comics. What is that, like $10 a month? I used to read a lot of comics because I don't know where to store all this stuff.
And we're
That
on Global Comics too, and all of our stuff is free on Global Comics. And we're getting massive amounts of readership from that. And people are like, well, why do you put your stuff up for free and then charge for it in other places? I'm like, well, you know, I care about readers.
also it's different if you're having to print a book versus saying if it's digital. I mean,
Right.
the cost so the cost to produce it and make the book is the same if it's, you know, the artwork doesn't change if it's distributed digitally or printing. The
Yeah.
cost changes if you have to physically print a book. I'm right. I mean, I don't think I'm saying anything that's crazy, right? I mean, right? Because you still have to ink it, you still have to color it, you still have to do a cover.
Oh, shit. And guess what? Going forward, all of our colors are going to be AI. All of them.
Great. Awesome. I love it. I love it.
I figured out how to do it. We're not changing the art. We don't change one line. Not one line of art gets changed. I figured out how to do it.
I figured out how to do a lot of stuff too with AI, but that's neither here nor there. I'm a big AI guy, right? Alan,
I am too. I am too, dude. We push the shock a mic, baby. What do you think?
I was about to tell a joke, a basketball joke, but hey, you go right. I was gonna say Allen Iverson's a great basketball player. But no. I'm a big AI guy. I don't think AI. So AI is gonna just so everybody understands, and we're gonna get shit for this. I don't give a shit. I tell the truth. It's going to eliminate jobs. It's also going to create jobs.
Yes, it is.
I'm sorry to tell you that if your job gets eliminated, I'm sympathetic. I'm sorry, but adapt.
Yeah,
I hate to be the asshole in the room.
I don't know.
But I mean, I tell the truth, and you don't have to like the truth. You don't have to like what I say.
I'm old enough that I have lived through what 3 times now in the art industry where this shit has happened and people have. All right, first let's rewind the clock. Let's go back to like 1990. We're coming out with Photoshop 1, right? The very first version of Photoshop. People were like, oh, you use Photoshop. You're not a real artist. Remember that?
I was born in '93, so I don't remember. But
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it. I'll take your word for it.
it happened. And then, fast forward about 10 years, they started coming out with these drawing tablets, right? And people were like, oh, you use a drawing tablet. You're not a real artist. Remember that? You're old enough to remember this one. They did. They did. They said it. They said,
I will admit, yeah.
You're not on pen and paper. You're not a real artist. They said that. And now we've got to where, oh, you can type some shit in a computer and you can generate this art. You're not a real artist. I don't know. I mean, I can think of all three of these times. What version of Photoshop are we on now? Let me.
Yeah.
Let's see. Let's go to help about. Where is it? System info? No. Updates. Where is it? What version of Photoshop are we on? About. Boom. 27.5. Okay. Tell me how many times we have fought against technology and won.
Let's see. Probably one out of 1,000. Out of 10,000, probably won once.
Dude,
which is not a good fight card record. That's all I'm gonna say.
It's not. So I mean, you're gonna fight against this? Are you gonna fight against technology and the advancement of where we're going? Like that's the hill you're gonna die on. Good fucking luck.
So I'm a big fan of NVIDIA. I'm a big fan of AMD. I'm a big fan of Fidelity Select Electronics, big AI mutual fund, big fan of it, right? It's made me a lot of money, right?
Our top selling covers are AI covers.
I mean, look, you know what is this is how I view it, right? I don't have a problem with AI. AI is great. I don't use AI when I write an interview because it wouldn't work with me when I write and do research. It doesn't work because but I'm so good at it now that I purposely don't write with AI because I can throw something on a paper that will trigger something in my brain that an AI will fuck me up when I want to do something, right? I can't explain it, right? I don't know how you feel about when you write, but like you might come up with something that an AI can't do just because of the way your brain works.
Right.
So my brain works like on a coding machine. It can't explain it, right? But the point I'm making is that AI is great. I mean, I have an AI dancing channel, and it's awesome. And I'm not saying it's like doing like 50,000 views, but those videos do 5 to 1,000 views a piece slowly, and they slowly climb up, and they're great. And it's like 10 seconds, and it's awesome, right? It's awesome, and it takes minimal effort, and it's pretty dirt cheap to do it. It's about like $1 to do it per video, which is nothing in reality.
So since I've sat here, I have made $1,373 on Indie Crowdfund and $636 on Kickstarter, and I guarantee you most of that is because of AI covers.
Look, I'm an AI guy. I don't have a problem with it. And this is what I say, right? I'll ask you the question, right? So supposedly you can't copyright an AI cover, but who gives a shit about that if you're making money and then you're moving on to the next one? I mean, because if the goal is to create content, right?
Yeah.
Is the goal to make money or to protect your artwork? And that's what I don't get. Like, to me, I just want to make a fuck ton of money.
At this point, is there anything that hasn't already been drawn? I mean, really? I think pretty much every pose has been covered. So what exactly are you trying to protect in the first place? I don't know.
No. If you want to protect your shit, you trademark it. You don't copyright it. You trademark it.
Right.
I mean, look, you know what is? I'll give you an example, right? You don't want somebody to. So I don't want somebody to go take this interview, copy my whole YouTube channel, and make it and put it on their YouTube. it would piss me the fuck off, and I'm going to issue them a cease and desist, right? Naturally, understandable, right? Copyright, trademark, whatever it is. I'm not trademarking this interview, right? But you're damn right. I'm going to make sure if you steal it from me, you're getting a cease and desist. That's understandable because it's my brand. So I would imagine that you don't want somebody to go take your cover on Kickstarter, and do that shit and take, your parody or I don't know. I can't think of your books. Matt Riddle's cover, which is awesome. I love Matt Riddle.
Oh, yeah, the Trip Story one.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I couldn't think of the name. You don't want somebody to take Trip Story and then make a Kickstarter and pawn it off as their own. That's a problem. But if you use an AI cover and they take it, but you made a lot of money and everybody knows it's yours, they're not going to get away with it anyway, in reality.
Yeah, I mean, even if they did, dude, whatever. Go have fun. I'll generate 10 more tomorrow.
But but if you made $10,000 off of it and it cost you $10 to make it,
right?
You made a fuck ton of money.
People are not buying it just because of the cover. People are buying it because of the story inside, and they like us and they want to support us. So even if someone were to take one of our covers and then go do that or whatever, they're not going to make the same amount of money that we made. So,
and let's say they do, right?
Good for them.
You're gonna say, God damn it, how did they do it? I want to know how they do it, right?
Yes,
you are. You're gonna call them and be like, teach me the ways. I know you, right?
Man, that's it. Good for them. Have fun.
When the teacher becomes the student, the student becomes the teacher. That's exactly what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I don't get too tied up in people taking shit or doing stuff, dude. I'm in the parody business. I take shit and I make it mine all the time. So
I don't care. I'm in the business of making me wealthy. That's the business I'm in.
And I made my money already. Go make yours. I don't care.
So the business I'm in is that I want to make a lot of money and I want to be financially free. And I want to be able to say fuck you to whoever I want to be able to say fuck you to.
Yeah, I can now, which is great.
I'm not there yet. I'm getting there. I'm getting there. I'm on the right path. I've had a rough 2025 on a lot of levels, and we don't have to get into it too much. But I had a rough 2025. That a lot of the problems are being fixed. Like I had a great week this week. It's the first good week I had in like 6 months. But not the point. But there is something to be said that sometimes you have a rough position, but I'm slowly becoming into the position where I could say fuck you and do whatever I want and be free. Within reason. Nobody is truly free, in which you still got to answer to things, but you have choice. You can make a lot more choices. But the point that I'm getting at and where I'm going with this is that it's fascinating, right? And I don't get why all these fucking people are so complaining. I don't get it. I don't get these artists. Adapt.
Yeah, if you don't, you're going to be left behind, and that's just the sad fact of it. So many people are up in arms about it, and all it is just them being scared. They don't know what they're going to do, or they want to stop it. They want to make as much money as they can before it happens. And there's just, you can't put that genie back into the bottle. You just can't. And like right now, I'm going to be saving thousands of dollars per book on coloring. I mean, do you understand? like generally, like a book costs.
You know me, in which I know every fucking statistic in my business, right?
Yeah.
Every fucking statistic, and I buy cards, and the more I buy, the more I save, right? Which increases the profit margin, and I pass those profit savings onto my consumer.
Right, and that's what we're gonna end up doing too. Like I'm talking, like in the next 6 months, dude. Like all of our books are gonna be $5-10.
So I buy cards, and I buy 25 cards for $100. It's for a card. I sell them for $8. It's cheaper to buy it from me than directly from the source.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody in the process makes money. My customer saves money. They save about $2. I make about $2 after shipping and fees and everything. And Panini, where I buy it from, they make their 4, but after their cost, they probably, since they're printing so many, it depends on the cart. Sometimes they make money, sometimes they lose because it's print on demand. So if only 100 of them are printed, you're not making as much money if 86,000 are printed, right? I mean, that's just nature. But the idea is that when 86,000 of those are printed, their print costs go down. They made their money, I made my money, and everybody made money, and everybody's fucking happy.
Now that we have a digital press, our price per book's going to average anywhere between $1.20 to $1.32 per book. That's the cost. So realistically, we can have $5 to $7 books in perpetuity.
That's good. That's good because the cheaper you go, the more you can pass on.
Buy them.
And also, you know, if you choose to do retail packages, you give better deals. I mean, we could go into the business of this because I'm the one who understands.
We can compete with any major publisher out there at this point.
So, and it works for you, and it works because if you're just doing it for yourself versus taking on and being a printer like a Comics Wellspring versus you doing it just for your businesses, then it's also different as well. Because
let's talk about Comics Wellspring.
I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for bringing the. No, I'm not. I'm not that guy.
Oh, come on. Let's talk about Comics Wellspring.
I actually have no fucking idea what's going on with them. I have no idea. I'm sorry. Like, I'm really ignorant. I just saw
they fired Pam.
What'd they do?
They fired Pam.
I don't even know who that is. I'm sorry.
Pam is the glue that has held that place together for 15 years. She's the only reason shit is right at all over there. She was the only one allowed to touch our orders. And they fired her because the new company, the new guys that bought Comics Wellspring, complete fucking dickheads.
I don't know anything about it. I have never printed a book. I just know that people aren't happy with them.
Yeah, nah, it's getting worse. It's getting real worse. So they've set on a proof for Batpool for over 20 days and have not done shit with it. I told them to give me my money back. They're going to be refunding my $5,000 over the next couple of days.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, dude, like we were at a point once Pam left, we knew that we had to make the move and jump into getting our own digital press and doing things ourselves, because I mean we can't go back to Ready Comics because apparently Brian Polito controls Ready Comics.
I'm not happy with them either.
Without fucking Pam there at Comics Wellspring, you can't trust them to get shit right. I've seen Mix'em fucking shit books to people in rubber bands.
They were a sponsor and they were good to me on a sponsorship level, and they paid me a lot of money. They took a flyer on me, but then the sponsorship ended and they wanted to go a different direction, which is fine. We left on good terms, so I have nothing against them.
Shit books and rubber bands.
I've heard mixed reactions, but again, they were good to me. I had a good relationship with them, but maybe they didn't find it fruitful. But I made them back their money, so I feel good about that. I mean, which is what I'm supposed to do as a sponsoree, I guess, or the show, or I'm not sure. But again, I've also heard problems from them too, from people who use my code and save them money. But it was a good deal. It was like 20% off every order, your first order with them, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
All things. I mean, it was good for everybody involved, right?
Right now, I've got our stuff priced at 10% under CWS. So, I started a new website for that too. It's called printingcomics.com. We open up next week, and we're going to be taking orders for people and doing a little bit of print and getting in that game.
Again, these are not the businesses I want to be in. I
have a phone call out to a very special person that might be coming to run all of this. And her name might start with a P and end with M.
And there's a P in there, right? And an R.
So that's going to be fun. That'll be fun if that happens. I hope it does. Hope it does.
So again. These are not the businesses I want to be in. This is not my cup of tea. I like businesses that my eBay business is great. It's nice, simple, it's boring. You know, I have a good time with it, and I get to maybe to my mother's hatred of this is that I keep some product for me. And I'm making this sound like a drug, but it's not. It's not. They're cards, and
Called a
they're awesome
savings
cards.
account. That's what I call it.
What would you say?
I call it a savings account.
Let's just
I
say
keep
that.
I keep a little back for me, you know. It's a savings account just in case.
Let me put it this way: is that I sometimes get something like this in my orders. So limited 1 out of 5, Stephanie Volcare.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a $1,200 card. So, you know, when you get one of those and you bought 20 of them for $170 and you get that's numbered the 20th card in the order, the randomly assigned, yeah, it might just take that one off the market for a little bit and you keep it. And then the other 19 pay for make you maybe 250 and you get that card for free. And
Yeah.
it goes into your personal collection. So it's the perks of my business. Um, so, and maybe my mother and my girlfriend are not thrilled with that, but I'm like, it's Stephanie Volcare, and but it happens a lot more than not. But my business is healthy, so I can do that. And I'm in charge of it, so that's the business I like. But I digress. But that's good, man. That's good. I mean, I think what you're doing, you're at least being competitive, and you're trying to do something. And I think that there's something to be said about that. Is that it's good to be part of the solution. It's good to do stuff, and it's good to run a business. I mean, look, you know what it is. What's the saying is that if you don't like the current environment, you should change it.
Yeah. You have to. If you sit there and you just become stagnant, you wind up like Larry Higgins.
Just had to attack him. Again. I've said this openly, in which that I don't have a problem with him. I don't have a problem with him. You know, I think you know what it is. Whether you like him, you don't like him, he's not everybody's cup of tea. You know, he does produce books. You know, people like his books, and I can't fault him for not getting people their books. I gotta give him credit in which that he had a rough campaign and he bounced back, and I gotta give him credit. And I don't think he screws his clients, and I don't think he screws his people. And you know, I can't attack somebody in the industry who does right by their clients, who likes that product.
When he says that I'm the cancer of the industry and I need to be gotten rid of,
I get it.
I'm
I have
like,
issues
all
with
right,
people.
well, all
I
right.
got issues with people too. I get it. But I'm not going to attack. So there's personal issues, right? I got no problem calling bullshit out, right? Personal problems are personal problems. And my favorite song is Warren Zevon. Lawyers, guns, and money. Lawyers and money are for professional problems. Guns are for personal problems.
Right.
But I have no professional gripes with Larry. I have professional gripes with certain people. Like, if you don't give me your fucking book, we got a professional problem. Personal problems, those are dealt with on my time, and I deal with personal problems in a very different way than other people deal with them. But I get it. I get it. I get about the stagnant.
There we go.
What? I don't know. What did I do?
I'm sending you something. Pull that up. I'm going to show you my savings account. One of them.
Where'd you send it to me?
Facebook.
Oh, I don't know. I mean,
Hang on, real quick. Mindy wants to tell me something. Hang on.
Let's see. I'll pull it up right now. Okay. Give me 1 second while I figure out how to pull it up. It's been a while since I pulled one of these things up. Shared screen. Fine. Let's see. It's this one, right? I'm not gonna dox anybody, right? We can all see it, right? I don't know. Did I lose Mike?
No, sorry, Mindy was talking to me. Got a problem. I need to
I'm
come up
not
with
important. That's what this is about. I'm not important. You know, that's it. This interview's over. I'm leaving.
but yeah, this I just got it finished. The biggest thing on here, if you look at the middle left,
Yeah.
that's Harrison Ford.
Oh man, I'm in my basement. My biggest book is the Four Horsewomen in WWE and the Bella Twins on a
I've been
9.
told that this thing is priceless and that I should name it to I See Dead People.
Okay.
It's got Stan Lee, Peter Mayhew, Carrie Fisher, Harrison Ford, Anthony Daniels, Mark Hamill, Jason Aaron.
That's sick. Um, I have a J. Scott Campbell, Stan Lee, Spider-Man 700, and Superior Spider-Man Midtown Connecting books, 9.8s. So that those are good books. Those are like $1,600 for the pair, but they're cheap. And then my Four Horsewomen books. I'm a big wrestling fan. It's Charlotte, Sasha, Nikki, Sasha, Bailey, Becky, Nikki, and Brie Bella all in the same book, signed at San Diego Comic-Con.
That's tight.
Bought the book for $250. They're cheap. There's 3 of them in the world. So I get it. This is probably cooler though. But it's a sick book. It's a sick book. Again, it's a sick book, and it's graded, right?
Yep.
So is there another one?
Nope, that was just the back of it.
I don't know these things. I ask questions. But yeah. So let's talk about that. What's your greatest comic book story? Not the most valuable one. The best one you've ever had.
The best story?
I'll tell you mine after you tell me yours.
Oh God. I really liked the Witchblade and Darkness storylines.
Let me rephrase. I asked the question wrongly. What is the greatest comic book moment you've had, like at a con or something like that? Not your favorite story of all time, because there's only one. There's only one good story.
Greatest comic book moment that I ever had.
Yeah.
When I was in New Mexico at Santa Fe Comic Con, and I was talking to Neil Adams, and he was having the worst show of his life. And he wasn't making any money. There was no one at his table. There was no one coming up getting this. Basically, nobody knew who this guy was. And it was really sad. And I had this gigantic Facebook group at the time. And I would buy and sell comics and promo it, because we still had our comic shop back in Arizona. And I made this dude around $8,000 or $9,000. Because I would go live every day, and I would sit at his table while he was drawing and take commissions through PayPal for him. And I didn't charge him a fucking thing for it. And I just gave him all the money. I'd just go to the fucking ATM and pull out a bunch of money and give it to him. And at the end of the show, he thanked me and said, "Can I get you anything for doing all of this?" And I said, "No, it's fine." And he said, "No, I'm going to do something for you." He said, "You like Batman, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I love Batman. You know that. We've talked over the weekend, you know?" And he sat down and he drew this amazing Batman sketch comic and gave it to me. And he said, "Here you go." He said, "Thanks for your help, kid."
So mine is a Batman Beyond story. So I was at Awesome Con, and a little bit of background. What happened is that, so it was 75, 80 years of Superman. They're doing something at the Library of Congress, a thing. Anybody could have gone. Maybe there was 50 people in the audience. So what happens is that I'm a little bit of a smartass, but Paul Levitz was a professor of mine in college at Manhattanville. He taught writing for the media. And what wound up happening is that Dan Jurgens and Paul Levitz were on stage. So I
Mhm.
asked the question, "Hey, professor, what were you thinking of? You know, because Doomsday was going on. They were selling a lot of comics. Nightfall happened at the same time, and then afterwards, Tom King was there, and then Dan Jurgens and Paul Levitz were signing for free. So I spoke to Paul Levitz for like 20 minutes, and I spoke to Dan Jurgens, and I said, "Hey, you're going to be at Awesome Con. I got a Batman Beyond blank sketch. Maybe you could throw a little stinger on there because I'm going to get it graded, signed, and a stinger counts as a remark and increases the value, and it's a cool book." So what happens is that CGC almost fucked it up. So now I'm waiting in line. Dan is going to sign it. We're waiting for CGC. They went the wrong direction. They're late 30 minutes. He's signing for an hour. I'm the only one left. I'm just speaking to Dan. And then Dan signs it, and then he just draws a big Batman head. And then his handler says, "You're going to go get Will Friedle, who plays Terry McGinnis," the voice of Terry McGinnis. I said, "No, I'm not going to touch him, man. I'm on crutches. I'm already beat up." I knew when to stop, right? I'm a kid with a physical disability. I know that if I keep going, I'm going to get hurt and it's going to be bad. CGC's with me. They said, "Oh, Dan doesn't sketch, Dan doesn't do this." Everything the guy at CGC said was wrong. So Dan does that, and then his handler says, "Wait right here." He brings me backstage to Will Friedel's booth, talks to his handler. Will Friedel comes out, stops his whole line, signs the book, writes, "Will Friedel, I am Batman, ... CGC gets it, comes back as a 9.8.
Oh, wow.
And I love Boy Meets World, Will Friedel's Eric Matthews, and I'm just like, fuck. And I said to CGC, "You gotta put this story on your website. This is the story of the con." And so it's my favorite book. It's because the story is worth more than the book by far. Dan Jurgens charges $10 for graded signed books and not expensive.
I love Dan. Dan's a good guy.
Oh, he's great.
He's so much fun.
It's the whole concept, right? But that's my book, right? Because it was just a handler who knew how to handle the situation, and it was throwing somebody a solid.
Yeah.
And it was an older handler, and you know what is some older handlers just know what to do. And then Dave Finch's handler was like that too. Dave Finch would just throw him through the book of a Cyberforce dollar book. He's just like, "I did this page, I did this page." Meanwhile, there's like 14.
Dave is crazy, man. That Dave Finch is probably one of the best artists I've ever met.
He's just thumbing through the book, having a good time. His handler just was backing up. "Oh, you did that page?" His handler was in on it, and then he was just having a good time. And there was like 14 people behind me. He didn't give a shit. It was great. It was great because he probably hasn't seen a Cyberforce. I mean, it's a dollar book, right? Like I didn't care. Nobody cares if it's a dollar book and it gets beat up, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to thumb through $1,000 book. Is my point.
Yeah.
But oh man, that's a good story too. But the Dan Jurgens was amazing, just amazing.
Yeah, Dan is really good. He has a lot of good writing advice too. I've talked to him extensively when it comes to story structure and plot placement and stuff like that. And he's fun. He's fun to talk to. Scott Snyder is another guy that's really good. Really,
Scott's great.
My hero, though, dude. Like my hero when it comes to writing is James Tynion.
He's good too. I like him too.
I've never seen anybody concurrently write 8 or 9 titles and just nail it every time. Like he's.
I went to go see Scott Snyder instead of Rob Liefeld.
Oh yeah.
So I came home from DC because Rob Liefeld was at George Mason, and I came home because Scott was signing at Oh Yeah Comics, and speaking to Scott, I said, "Yeah, I came from DC to come see you." He's like, "You came from DC? What the hell?" Like he was like completely shocked. Like I thought it was funny. I said, "Yeah, I live in Yorktown. You know, I came home for like 2 weeks for this signing, right?" And he's like, "You came from DC where you live?" And I said, "Yeah, I came to you instead of Rob Liefeld." And James Island was there. Who else was there who worked on Batman? I can't think. That whole Batman crew. It was great. It was great. But oh man, Scott's great. He followed me on Twitter.
Yeah.
I wrote an opinion on AD After Death that scorched that book, and he shot me a message and he apologized to me. I wrote a review on that and I was not happy. And and then I reread it. I'm like, maybe I was a little too harsh.
Yeah,
But
that's
but but
that's
I thought my issue with AD After Death was that I didn't like the fact that it was half the book was in prose and half of it was in comics. I didn't like that combination. That was my complaint, but I digress. But obviously, there's I mean, I think we tackled everything. I'm glad you reached out to me.
yeah,
You
man. It was fun coming on. I appreciate it. I'm getting kind of busy now. I need to go fix some problems on the website.
Well, I
So
do want to give you a chance to promote yourself. So, where could people find you, hit you up, bother you,
find
check
me
it
in
out?
the pits of hell. No.
Yeah, I'm just going to take your soul.
and everybody go use it. You can find us at divinitycomics.com. We're going to be printing for people at printingcomics.com. We're around, man. We're easy to find. Mike and Mindy Wheeler. You can search the internet. You'll find something on us.
Well, on that note, I'm going to promote myself. I am Pop Anime Comics on Twitter/X. Let's go Mets, because if you criticize the Mets, apparently you can get suspended on Twitter and you might lose your account. I almost did lose my account because I criticized the Mets' losing streak. So let's go Mets. They're the greatest team, and they're going to win the whole World Series for the next 20 years. That's right. That's right. Twitter is a Mets fan. So there you go. You can criticize the Yankees, no problem. Not the Mets.
I think the Phillies are going to take out the Mets.
No, you can't say that. I would like to keep my account, Mike. I would like to keep my account here. But I digress. Instagram, Pop Anime Comics. Facebook, Pop Anime Comics. TikTok, Pop Anime Comics. Please subscribe on YouTube at Pop Anime Comics. I got a lot of content. I got like 2,200 videos. There's something for everybody on my YouTube channel. And then the other thing I run is I run an eBay business. So look for comics and collectibles. Come shop with us on eBay. And I tend to sell comics like this in my store. I tend to sell stuff like this in my store. I tend to sell stuff like this in my store. And I sell cards like this in my store. This is in my store. And I do carry stuff like this, which are 101s, and they do go out fast. They typically go in my store and they sell it within about 20 minutes when I get those in my store, stuff like that. So you got to be quick. And, if you miss it, I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you, but I like selling a lot of cool stuff. So, and I've been saying it forever, is that go to my eBay store if you're looking for stuff, collectibles, and scroll through it. If you don't see what you're looking for, shoot me a message. And if I have it, I'll list it. If I don't have it, I'll probably direct you to the right person that does have it, because I know a lot of people in the industry still, both on cards and comics. And I'm happy to help you get what you want, because collecting is hard to find the thing you want. So happy to do that. And that's pretty much everything I got going on. So I'm going to give you the final word.
Peace.
And that is a wrap, everybody. That is